What is going on, everybody? I hope you're having a wonderful day today. It's a rainy day here today, so today we're going to be working on my blue truck because we can't do nothing else really. So none of my gauges work in my dash except for my volt gauge, and I don't really like that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull the dash out, just right here with the cluster, not the whole dash bed. We're going to pull that out, and I bought some gauges. I think they'll sit in there, and then hopefully we can figure out how to wire up the ones that need to be wired up. The oil and the temperature gauge should be pretty easy, but let's get into the video. But before we get into the video, if you're new here, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so that you can be notified whenever I put out a new video. And if you like the video, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Actually, click the thumbs up, and make sure you leave a comment and let me know what type of content you want to see. And if you like this or anything, say, well, hey, what's up? So let's actually jump into the video this time. So to show you what I'm working with, I got a fuel gauge, does not work. I got a speedometer, does not work. I got an oil gauge, does not work. I got a temperature gauge, does not work. I got a clock that does not work, but my volt gauge works. Down here, I got my temperature, my volt, and my oil. My oil actually works and my temperature works, but my volt gauge doesn't work. I want to do away with this cluster down on the ground and put it up here. So we're going to take the dash out right here, just for the cluster, not the dash pad. I'm going to take that bolt out and all these little screws that are holding this in. I'm going to have to pull the radio out. And then we're going to take this inside and see if we can get our gauges to just sit in here. And I'll get, once they fit, I'll get them in there. And then we'll come back, we'll pull this cluster out. And then see if the wires will wire up. All of the temperature gauge, that should be pretty much plug and play. And the oil gauge. But everything else, I'm going to have to use my brain and see if I can figure out how to wire that into the new gauges. So I'll be right back. Dash out, and there's the cluster. It's all one unit, and if our gauges fit in there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull this out, and then we're going to have to figure out the wiring on it to wire up to a new gauge. But nothing works, and all the wiring's kind of chopped up in this because they took a fuel injected motor, switched the carburetor, and then they took the 700R4 out. They had the overdrive, as you can see, and it's got a turbo 350. I had to rebuild that. And the wiring just isn't there as far as the gauges go. Everything else is very mechanically sound as far as wiring goes. Just the gauges aren't right. So let's go into the shop and see what we can do. All right, so we got one gauge in there, the fuel gauge. And what you're going to have to do is either get your Dremel. I use this Sawzall, and that is not a good idea, so don't use that. But get you a Dremel with a little end on it, and you can cut the back of the gauge off so your gauge fits. And once you've destroyed your gauge cluster to where you can't go back, so you have to finish what you're doing, because that's pretty much where I'm at. But anyways, you're going to cut this little thing. Don't go past this lip, but you're going to cut this back off. I'd start out about halfway and then go a little bit more, however much you need, because you don't want to go too far, then the whole thing's effed and then you're back to zero. But you cut this off, I would start about halfway, and then your gauge will fit in there just like that, and you'll have a gauge. So I'll show you. We're going to do these four, and then we're going to go get a speedometer and put my tack. I got a tack, but we're going to have to get a speedometer, and we'll put a speedometer in there. So I'll show you what I do. also going to want to go back with the Dremel and just nick this, and you can get all your ends cleaned up. So we're going to do that. Make everything look professional. So that's the gist. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish the other two, and then we'll put the gauges in there and show you what it looks like. So we got our gauges in, and I think that they look pretty daggone good. And these are Equus gauges. If y'all want to send me some free set of speedometer and the tachometer Equus, let me know. It would be pretty cool. But yeah, these gauges are in there, and they look pretty daggone good. And it says on them, there's the website to go to. I think I'm saying it right. But anyways, besides the point, the gauges look pretty daggone good. So we're going to slap this back in the truck, and hopefully we can get all the gauges hooked up that we have. Okay, so you can see that I got my gauge cluster dash back in there. I don't have a speedometer or a tach, but I have these ones in there. I got everything wired up. I got everything hooked up, the oil lines, the thermostat into the motor, volt gauge, fuel, everything's hooked up. So all I have to do is the tach and the speedometer. But if you thought this video was helpful for you and this helped you do your Squarebody Chevrolet, let me know in the comments, or if you liked the video, let me know in the comments. And make sure, like always, you like, and if you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe so we can put out new content. And I hope this video really helped you out, and thank you and goodbye.